Welcome to the Raw Spotlight podcast, where we feature inspiring leaders in the B2B space and share their unique stories. Let's get started with the show.
Hi, I'm Victor Huynh, your host for the Raw Spotlight, a podcast where we feature leaders from B2B businesses and community partners. Join us as we share their innovative strategies and inspiring success stories. Past guests include industry trailblazers and community changemakers like Dylan Feek, city manager of the city of Monrovia, Rocky Castro from Golden State Grading, an amazing second-generation owner taking his family business to new heights. So get comfortable, settle in, and get ready to be inspired. Before we start, I have a sponsorship message. This episode is brought to you by Ready Artwork, a website-first digital marketing agency dedicated to driving long-term growth for your business. At Ready Artwork, we believe your website is the foundation for your digital presence. That's why we lead with our proven 7-step website blueprint, a strategic process designed to deliver high-performing lead generation websites. For custom websites and branding to local SEO and paid digital campaigns, we help businesses expand their reach with targeted web-driven strategies. Visit readyartwork.com to see how we can help you unlock your brand's full digital potential. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Alfredo Mejia, a CCIM, and for those of you guys that don't know, it's Certified Commercial Investment Member. Principal at CIBA Real Estate, Alfredo launched his real estate career in 2002 after managing his family's iconic Mexican restaurant in the city of Duarte. By 2004, he co-founded CIBA Real Estate, specialized in leasing, acquisitions, and dispositions of commercial properties, with a strong focus on industrial and office assets in the San Gabriel Valley. Alfredo is a passionate community member, having served on boards and associations like the Monrovia Chamber of Commerce, Kiwanis Club of Monrovia, Pasadena Latino Business Association, and the Arcadia Association of Realtors. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Admin from Cal Poly Pomona, Go Broncos. It's a licensed real estate broker and a proud holder of the CCIM designation. Beyond business, Alfredo is an avid urban hiker and loves time at the beach or by the campfire with his wife. He believes that life is good and the best is yet to come. Let's welcome Alfredo. Thanks for coming on the show, Alfredo.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you for having me. And that was a great introduction. I can't believe that's me.
It's amazing. You know, sometimes we look back and, you know, we've achieved a lot of things over time, right?
A lot of good stuff.
Really happy to have you here. So let's jump right into it. I'm gonna kick us off with a beginning. You know, what inspired you to transition from managing your family's business, the restaurant, right, and to start commercial real estate career? Kind of walk us through that.
Well, I've worked in the family business since I was probably 14 years old. We had a market, and then they opened a restaurant, and so I grew up in that business, and it was a great business. I mean, it's all families and a small business, and we'd really, really get to know a lot of people very well. Our business was all repeat customers, so it was great. But at a certain point, it's a family business, and there was 4 brothers that owned it. That means a lot of cousins. And at a certain point, you got to start thinking, where is my place in this? Where do I fit in? Mm-hmm. And so, you come to a decision, even though you love the business, that it's time to move on. So at one point, they were going to sell some properties. I thought, you know what? This is an opportunity for me to get into real estate, and I want to list all the properties they sell. But turned out they didn't sell anything. But I was already well on my way to getting my license. And it's funny because once you get into real estate, unless you've been in it, you don't know, should I go residential? Should I go commercial? And I ran into my business partner now, Filippo Fanara, and he had run a restaurant in Duarte, Fanara's, and they'd been there for many years. So we'd known each other for a long time. And so he talked to me, and I decided I was going to get into commercial real estate.
So, for those of us that have, a lot of people have friends that are real estate agents, and for the most part, I would say majority of them are going to be residential. Why did you choose commercial over residential?
It's funny. I went and I interviewed with three different brokers,
Hmm.
and two of them were local residential agents. And I'd walk in the door, and they would sit down with me and talk to me for about 15, 20 minutes, and they'd say, "Hey, just come on in. Just we'll hang up your shingle, and you're good to go." And then I went to interview with a commercial broker, and it took me three interviews before he said, "Okay, we'll give you a shot." And he sat me down and he said, "Look, you have to have 6 months worth of income saved up. You have to have a nice car. You have to dress well. You have to do all these things that he was going to expect from me, and in order to just make it in this business." And I thought, you know what, that sounds a lot better to me than just come on in.
Hmm.
It had some challenges.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So the barrier to entry, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Now, as we were talking, you emphasized the importance of
Mhm.
serving people who need advisors. Why is that mission so important to you?
I think that right now it's very challenging for real estate agents. I think that people go on to YouTube, they go on to Redfin, Zillow,
Mhm.
and they think it's going to be really easy. It's just I'm going to give them my money and I'm going to get a house, or a Rocket Mortgage, and I'm going to get a loan. They don't understand all of the intricacies of the business and what a broker kind of guides them through. It's kind of like your Sherpa. You
Mhm.
know, you're if you want to get to the top of Mount Everest, you need a Sherpa. You can't do it on your own. We're kind of like your real estate Sherpas. We can help you. We guide you. We're going along the path, and we see the danger ahead of us where you're not going to see it. We see the problems with the building. And with commercial real estate, there's so many different things that are just waiting. Environmental is a big problem right now. Insurance, of course, interest rates, the building, how, you need a good inspector, and you're not going to inspect it on your own. You're not going to call your uncle to come and look at it. You have to have the right advisors.
Yeah. My favorite quote is, "You don't know what you don't know." And
Exactly.
and basically, so especially people that are kind of new to it, right? But even seasoned people, right?
Right.
You only know what you're exposed to, right? Or what you handled in the last deal versus someone like yourself that has seen so many different types of transactions and so many different, ugly situations as well as good situations.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even then, there's so many more things to see. That's the best is yet to come. I mean, I'm looking forward to more challenges because there will be. And
Yeah.
there's going to be new things coming up that we don't even know about yet.
Hmm. Hmm. So we're talking about new and seasoned people. How do you balance working with clients who are like someone brand new to shopping, or leasing, right? Or versus someone that's a seasoned buyer or a leaser. What is that different? How do you approach that differently?
Well, first it's getting to know the person and getting to understand what their goals are, what they want to do, what they want to accomplish.
Hmm.
And as you have that conversation, you're going to learn what do they know? How have they done this before? Do they understand the process? Do they know that, we're going to have to do a phase one environmental test? And it's not because they want to do it, it's because the bank is going to require it, because the bank is their number one partner. The bank's going to have more skin in the game than they do typically. So the bank's going to force them to do a lot of things,
Hmm.
an appraisal, what have you. So you really need to talk to people. You need to communicate well, and you need to hear them and listen to them, because that's a guide. If you can hear what they're saying and
Hmm.
read between the lines, a lot of times you understand where the pain points are and how you can help them. And you understand what they don't know, because a lot of times they'll tell you, "Oh, I've done this a lot. I understand this." And as you go through the process, you understand that maybe they've done it, but they don't understand it as well as they might think they do.
Hmm.
So in there, you don't want to. you don't want to make them feel bad. You just want to help them.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's important, especially with someone that's, gearing up to spend 1 million, 10 million, I mean, these are people that have been through a lot as well, right? They don't want to be made to look like they don't know anything.
Right. Right. You just want to help them. You want to
Right.
make them feel good. You want to make them the hero. I
Hmm.
mean, this is their story.
Yeah.
You're just here to help them.
Now, I guess San Gabriel Valley, right? It's near and dear to me too. This is my, where I grew up. Um, what does it mean to you to help shape San Gabriel Valley, through your work?
Well, it's funny. We will find a vacant building,
Hmm.
and we have to think what would be good there? What would help the community? You want to put something in there that's going to bring people in, bring in commerce, but on the same token, not at the expense. You don't want to just put somebody in there because you can fill the space.
Hmm.
You want to put somebody in there that that is a good fit with the rest of the people in the community, that is solid, so that the owner gets paid, and that you feel that can make it there. We've one of the really neat things, one of the neat tools we have right now is AI. And I am just blown away every day by all the amazing things you can get out of there. And what you can learn is what is missing in the community. What does the community need? Um, by virtue of looking at demographics, by virtue of looking at what's already in the community and what might be in a community like this that we don't have. It's just kind of like a void analysis.
Yeah.
So that's how I see helping the community.
That's awesome because many folks out there just don't they don't see how that translate, right? But AI with their mass amount of data, like they can make predictions and they can make forecasts based on what's happening historically in other cities across America, right?
Mhm.
And you're able to kind of have that at your fingertips. That used to be stuff like only really big companies with really advanced data and analysts or actuaries and all these like really, really high end, highly paid people. But now it's like at our fingertips, and it's kind of crazy how a lot of people aren't using it.
Right. It's an amazing tool. You just again, it's a tool, and you
Hmm.
have to understand it. And
Yeah.
I think the one thing that we talked about at one point was that it's the tool's great, but you have to have that knowledge that sits behind the tool.
Right.
So when you get the results, you can analyze them and say, does this look right or not?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah. Like we had this in-depth conversation, right? AI is not here to replace, but it's really to enhance the people that know what to ask, know what to prompt, right?
Mhm.
Kind of circling back to what we were saying earlier, you don't know what you don't know, but with your experience, this tool becomes super powerful and not just a task type of thing, right? Um,
Right.
you're able to kind of leverage it to kind of amplify what you're doing, both in quality and how fast you can turn things around as well.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing a presentation to the CCIM Institute in, excuse me, July 25th. And the topic of that is industrial real estate. And the way I'm going to approach it is by virtue of using AI along with their site to do business to look at the demographics to feed into the AI to say this is why you can find what the right tenants would be for different buildings, or what who works here. Does it work for a logistics company? Does it work for a manufacturer? And which manufacturers? What is around this area that works with this building?
Yeah, that's awesome. So what trends are you seeing in commercial real estate in San Gabriel Valley right now? What's hot?
Well, industrial is always good. It's the space that I really like. Um, and it's been good to me, and it's just I like the people.
Hmm.
I work well with people that are in industrial businesses.
Hmm.
Um, I think that we're going to see, you know the e-commerce isn't going anywhere,
Hmm.
and so a lot of these smaller buildings for a while, and even now we're filling the last mile. where, they maybe had returns
Hmm.
or they would have where they're processing the returns. You drop them off somewhere and then they go to some of these small people, businesses that process them.
Yeah.
And then we had, just service providers. It might be a company that does fire damage repairs, insurance companies that, handle that.
Hmm.
It might be somebody that's staging homes. So they just need space to put their, inventory. So there's a lot of different uses,
Hmm.
and a lot of them are just, sometimes they're just somebody that's producing or storing cars. I mean, that's huge in this area. It's amazing. You,
Yes.
you just look at these buildings, and it's amazing what's in these buildings.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of tech stuff, a lot of biotech in this area.
Hmm.
We've seen a lot of that. In fact, there's a group here, Medea, and they're focused on biotech, and they have these programs they put together every month. So I think biotech's going to be probably the number one because that's really big. And then just, technology and then all the service providers.
Yeah. Yeah. We've also been seeing a a lot of activity in like manufacturing, industrial manufacturing, more recently, because of all the political stuff happening, right, with
Hmm.
the tariffs and everything.
Right.
However you feel about it, but the end product, the end result is that there's been a lot more activity in terms of people kind of revitalizing and trying to like feel like, okay, well, maybe that's something that we can do domestically. So
Hmm.
we've been seeing more activity actually in the last, month or so, I would say.
Yeah, we see some of that, but more so in the sense of development,
Mm,
where, we have Caltech here, we got the Claremont colleges,
yeah.
JPL, and a lot of these will generate these spin-offs that come to Monrovia,
Hmm.
and they'll start here. They'll have incubators here,
Hmm.
and then, as they hit a certain, you know, size, and then they have to move because they can't manufacture here. We don't have any buildings that are big enough to manufacture.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So what challenges or opportunities do you see ahead for local businesses looking to lease or buy spaces?
Well, it's I think it's going to be kind of a waiting game for a lot of people. I think because of the instability in the economy right now.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people are on a holding pattern,
Yeah.
but this can create opportunities because if people aren't buying, somebody's got something on the market. It's been sitting for a while because everybody's worried about, you know, putting their foot in the water, dipping their toe in.
Mhm.
It's going to create some opportunities for people that want to move forward and have the capital to do it.
Mhm.
But I haven't seen I mean, prices for leases have gone down, definitely. The lease cost has gone down. Sales prices are going down, but the list prices are staying. They're not moving too much.
Okay.
Those are really sticky. They have not come down
Mhm.
a lot. But I see deals getting done even where the lease listing price may be $300, $350 a square foot. There may be a 10, 15, 20% discount off that.
Wow. Okay. So if you have capital, this might be a good opportunity, right? If you have the appetite for the risk,
Hmm.
right? That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So now let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about all the local stuff you're involved in, right? So
Hmm.
how has your involvement in local organizations influenced your business approach, right?
Wow, that's interesting because I'm not. I think the involvement in a lot of these local organizations have just really kind of softened my approach a little bit
Hmm.
because I think when I first got into this business, I wasn't as readily um, welcoming of the rest of the brokerage community. I was just kind of doing my own thing, and I was kind of a lone wolf type thing.
Hmm.
But as I've gone on and met a lot more brokers and what have you, it's opened it up a lot. I mean, I just really enjoy working with a lot of these brokers, and it's really spawned some friendships, and I enjoy working with them.
Hmm.
And but at a certain point, when I was younger, I was a little more cocky maybe.
Yeah, I was about to say I think I went through a similar journey. Like when you're new and you're starting up, like everyone's a competitor,
Right,
right? Uh,
right.
and you have this sense of like, this protective like shield up where like I don't want to share any information with you, and then as you mature, you realize that there's a lot of business out there,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
not like it's gonna impact me if you close a deal, or if I close a
right.
deal, it's not gonna kill you, right? And you start building this community because I joined a agency community where we have like a bunch of people that own agencies all across the US, and
Hmm.
everyone just shares like, hey, what are you using? What AI tool is working now? HR questions, and people are just sharing, right? And that I very much enjoyed that relationship versus like a closed off and like everyone's my competitor type of a mentality.
Right. I wish I could have said it like you said it, because that was perfect. And it is, because you do learn. You do
Hmm.
learn to share. And
Yeah,
this morning I was on my walk. I like to walk early in the morning.
yeah.
And I was just thinking, it'd be really neat to have like a San Gabriel Valley commercial brokers
Hmm.
get-togethers, where we just got together every quarter,
Yeah,
because a lot of the commercial brokers, because there really aren't that many.
yeah.
And so it's just nice to get to know them a little better.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had the same thought within our industry, right? Um, but once you start sharing, then everyone kind of drops their guard. It's just a much more enjoyable career, when you're not having to watch your back, around every corner, right?
Agreed.
Everyone's open to growing together, especially with this AI stuff that you're sharing with the community as well. So,
Hmm.
be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next question is for someone looking to lease or sell commercial property, but they might be feeling overwhelmed right now with all the uncertainty we talked about.
Hmm.
What advice would you give them?
Um, Number one is be open with your broker. Tell them what you're going through, because if you've got some financial problems that they're not aware of, and you've got a certain amount of time that you're working with, they need to know that, because they're going to change their advice depending on what your situation is.
Hmm.
Number two is that your broker, if he works in that area that your property is, let's say your property is in Monrovia,
Hmm.
and let's say you think it's an industrial building and it's just an industrial space, but the broker may say, hey, that is zoned this way.
Hmm.
And you may be able to get a little more money for it, because it's not just an industrial building. Maybe they can build houses on there instead.
Hmm.
And most of the buildings in this area are anywhere from 60 to 70 years old.
Hmm.
So what's the lifespan of that building, and opposed to them being able to build apartments or homes or what have you? Or maybe it's going to be a tech building. Who knows? It's just the broker will have a real good idea of what the value of the property is, not just the building, because depending on what they can do there.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Something to think about, right? Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right, exactly. And a lot of the properties are have been rezoned, especially now with a lot of the residential rezoning.
Hmm.
For, let's say, anybody can put an ADU on their property, but now you can split some lots depending on the size. I mean, there's a lot of different opportunities,
Right.
and you have to work with a broker that knows what those opportunities are. Like, I'm not a residential guy, so I couldn't really tell you
Right.
what they are on the residential side, but on the commercial side, it surely could.
Yeah. I know there's a certain like step by step because if you do it wrong, you kind of lose that all that opportunity. So that's
Hmm.
where the expert comes in, right?
Right. And then on the other end, it's like, are you going to do let's say a 1031? Are you going to exchange it so you don't have to pay taxes?
Hmm.
And that's where we come in and recommend the people that we use.
Yeah.
We recommend them. You can use whoever you want. It's just that we know them.
Right.
And so it's kind of same with like title. There's a gentleman here, Chris Shevlin, we use for title. He's a great guy. We love that guy. He's a really good guy. And then, if we're doing loans, I got a guy in town that works for Citizens Bank, George Sevilla. He's really good. And, we just find the people that you work well with.
Yeah.
And you can recommend them. A lot of times people have their own bank. They're not going to want to deal with my banker. They're going to deal with their banker.
Right.
And that's perfectly fine. We just have people they can work with.
Yeah. Yeah. Extra shout out to Chris Shevlin. I know Chris, really, really cool guy.
Yeah. He is a good guy. Yeah.
Okay.
And
what keeps you motivated and passionate about your work? You've been doing this for 20 years. Like, how do you keep going?
I like what I do. I haven't done it as much, but every time I do it, I just think, why the heck am I not doing this? I love to walk into businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I love to walk in and see what people do, how they do it. And it's amazing what you find.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every time, and it's when I was a waiter and manager of a restaurant, I would walk up to the table. I mean, if you walk in a restaurant, you're not just going to walk up to the table. I had a license to go talk to anybody in that restaurant because, I worked there, right?
Right.
It's kind of like real estate. I feel like I have a license to walk in any building.
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking in the front door. If they invite me in to go see what they're doing, that's great. But I'm going to give them value. And when I do that, I find that I get more value because I learn. And it's the same thing. And I keep going with the real estate because I really enjoy the AI right now. That's really amazing. I just got my CCIM about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that really opened my eyes to other things and just, the economics of real estate. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the last question was, how do you continue to educate yourself and stay on top of industry changes? So you touched on a little bit about that.
Yeah.
What else are you doing?
I think learning how to merge all this stuff because it all works together.
Mm-hmm.
It's AI. I mean, there's like how many different AI platforms now, and they all kind of work together. You use one to generate more out of the other.
Right.
And it's not just a single package. You got to use multiples.
Mm-hmm.
to get to the end result. And I think understanding how CCIM works and how the economics work, you're really able to leverage the AI to get more out of it.
Yeah. Awesome. So I have a last question, right? But before I ask it, I want to point people to your website, www.CIBA Real Estate, CIBA realestate.com. Is that the correct address? Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, so the last question is, what is your favorite tool or software that you find essential in your day-to-day work?
We use CoStar a lot. CoStar is, the kind of the go-to resource for real estate. And Dennis Lee he just left. He was our advisor for CoStar. Great guy. Now it's David Ballou. But CoStar has been a good partner for us. They have all the information on buildings, on contacts that who owns the building, what the zoning is, pretty much a one-stop shop for all the information. So I think CoStar is the one we use the most.
Okay.
And then email.
Email. Yeah. Email is definitely something essential to a lot of businesses. So, Alfredo, thank you so much for sharing your insights and passion with us today. It's been super inspiring to hear how you're not only advancing commercial real estate, but also helping shape San Gabriel Valley and the community. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the Raw Spotlight. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, share with a friend. Until next time, I'm Victor Huynh, and remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep shining a spotlight on what matters. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Victor. I appreciate the time.
Thanks for listening to the Raw Spotlight podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.